Hello everyone, welcome to A Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. I thought I'd give you a little garden update here because we're going to be doing some fairly major planting here. A good bit of it today. So back in there, that's basically our seedling nursery. There's stuff inside there, there's stuff down on the bottom, there's stuff over on the breeding tanks. We got all kinds of stuff to go in the ground. The main thing that I want done today is that I want, like all of these onions here, to be transplanted. You get about 3 to 1. Let's just take a random example here like this one. So one onion was planted here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 6, 7. That's a lot. It's more than what's normal. This one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, let's say 4 to 1. So we could plant 4 times the area here easily with what is here. And I'll show you towards the end of this video where I have a suggestion that they be planted. Now I do know that Marcel has a place that she wants to plant them. The beans here and tomatoes are doing very well. These here are just loaded up with tomatoes. I'm liking it. There's several rows here of tomatoes planted at, well, they were all planted within like 3 weeks of each other. You can see these here on the left are not producing yet, but they're on the way. And these on the far right also are, they're even behind the ones on the far left. So we've got a little bit of a staggered progression here. Now, there's also more onions here that can be transplanted. So basically all this area right here is going to be put into onions. And that'll probably end up tripling the amount of onions that we have in the ground. And look, the reason that I want so many onions is that we're going to be using a lot of them in the restaurant. A lot. I did plant some red onions. They're kind of, it's so hard. I've tried several times to grow white onions, yellow onions, red onions, the ones that get big. These spring onions here, we never had a problem with them. They grow and do very well. But the others, not so much. What are you doing, little cat? So we're going to stick with these. I mean, they're adequate. I can put these on burgers. Just use the actual onion end, and the grains we can put in soups and whatnot. These will also be rather heavily used on the Filipino dishes, but in some of the stuff that I'm going to be using as well. We also have that large area right there which could be put into onions, but I don't think I think Marcel has plans to put peppers in there. We have a lot of peppers, hot peppers, bell peppers. We have a lot of peppers that are soon to be planted. I think I'll go this way. As you can see, all the limoncito are, there's a carpenter bee right there. And there's a lot of them in this limoncito. I think he sounded a little mad. So these limoncito are just really blooming. All these trees are just full of blooms. Look at that. And the bees are out. So, and really, for the most part, those large carpenter bees are what pollinates everything. What they call the cute bees, the very small ones, you rarely see them. They're around. Another carpenter bee, which I seem to have made mad. But those little tiny cute bees, which are even smaller than like a housefly, you don't see them that often, and they're not in numbers sufficient enough to handle the pollination. So you have to depend on those carpenter bees, and they do okay. There's more flying around in that tree there. See if I can sneak up on that one without it getting mad and wanting to fly away. There you can see them. So they're everywhere. Now I say carpenter bee, I think that's what they are. They resemble a cross between a bumblebee and like a European honeybee. They're much larger than a honeybee, not quite as big as a bumblebee, and the coloring is a little bit different. So I'm going to take you around here. So this is our little mini pepper plantation here. And these jalapenos are doing very well. That one there is loaded up with them. Some of them are pretty small. We just fertilized these again yesterday. But they're all bearing fruit. It's just that some of them are bearing very tiny fruit, which is still just as usable as the large, but it makes the harvesting a bit of a pain. Now these jalapenos, they just don't keep producing. They have kind of a cycle, like you see all those little red peppers right there. Well, that plant produced and it died. Same with that one. There's some more of the long chilies there. More jalapenos. Most of this area in here is jalapenos. Now they, for the most part, aren't raising really large fruit, but use two small ones. Now occasionally you do get one that puts on very large fruit, like that one. And it may have to do with something that, you know, there's only 2 peppers on this plant. That might have something to do with it, but I'm not going to go plant to plant and prune the fruit so that the remaining fruit is larger. I'm going to try fertilizing them well first and see if we can turn the corner with that. So now we're in this area here. This is where Gina, if you guys recall, had her cucumber patch. It's all going in tomatoes. I hear Marcel has plans to plant the seedlings that we have available in here. I'm not going to go over to the other side and show you E-Boy's chickens, but they're still there and they're doing well. And in the interest of not just totally wasting our money that we put into these pig pens, which are never going to house pigs again, E-Boy has put chickens in here. Put up net, sealed it up well, and He's got a rooster in there. I think he's got a few too many hens for that one rooster. What has he got? 4, 8, 9? Yeah, I think that's a bit too many, but he might be short of roosters. I am going to suggest to E-Boy, again, I've already suggested it to him, but that was like 3 months ago, right when we had to get rid of the pigs, that he utilize those 4 pins right there and just do the same thing, and this other one here. So he has 5 more pins that he could use for enclosures. I don't know if we have enough net for all of it, but I have told him that he can do that. He can raise his chickens here and have a super native chicken production facility. Also adjacent to this area, which is going to be utilized as well, is our old original raised bed. Gina had good success. So the raised bed, this is like the perimeter right here. We hauled in about a foot of rice hulls and mixed it in with the soil here. It could use another 4 or 5 inches or so. But all this area right here is prime soil for more gardening. Now this area over here where we buried the pigs, that's not going to be utilized. But back up that little hill there and around the corner can be. It's just, you know, we're running out of space here, and so we're going to start utilizing it, especially these that have already been prepared, like this old raised bed here and that area there that Gina had her cucumbers growing in. So can't really call it a farm, but an extensive garden. I'm liking it. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Here, Rio and Ippy and RJ are taking down this old chicken coop here. So this is pretty good soil because it was a chicken pen for over a year. So they're taking down the but it has not been utilized as a chicken pen for over a year. So they're just taking it down, and this area here where it was, all the way past that big tree there, but basically all the way to the bananas, this is all going to be utilized as a garden as well, for whatever. I don't know what the lovely Maricel has planned to put in here. Look, the only thing I'm really the only thing that's high on my wish list are tomatoes, onions, and peppers. So whatever else she wants to plant, when I think I've got enough of those going, that's up to her. I know Maricel, she'll want to plant cucumbers and eggplant and oh, what's that bitter gourd Amplia. She'll want to plant some of that in there, I'm sure. And we'll let her go one time. The thing is that we have to keep moving the tomatoes. You can't keep planting them in the same place because the blight gets into them, and then you have to leave that dormant for a time. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the tomatoes go.